book of Genesis, there's a great story about a guy named Joseph. And Joseph goes through some hard times, but God's going to elevate him to a position of power. And he does it because he gives Joseph the ability to interpret dreams. And so the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, comes along and he has a really weird, bad dream. And Joseph interprets the dream with God's help and says there's going to be a famine coming. And then Joseph tells Pharaoh this in Genesis 41, verses 34 and 35. Said, "Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take a fifth of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 good years that are coming before the famine. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in cities for food." In other words, the dream said there's going to be 7 years of great stuff, lots of too much good stuff almost, followed by 7 years of famine. So take the 7 years of good to get ready for the 7 years of famine. That's a pretty good plan. Matter of fact, it's so good that Pharaoh says, "Oh, why don't we just have you, Joseph, carry it out?" And so Joseph becomes like one of the most important, most powerful people in the land of Egypt because he's a good planner. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes we have this idea that if God gives us something, if God reveals something to us, that we're supposed to just let go and let God. That we're not supposed to do any planning. But that's not the biblical story. That's not the way things work in the Bible. When Joseph says, "Here, I've got a great plan," God uses it to save the entire nation of Israel. So revelation and planning aren't distinct things. They're not separate things. They're definitely not opposite things. It's perfectly normal for revelation to lead to planning in light of the revelation. Or to put it another way, if you're pretty sure where God wants you to go, if God's revealed to you, I'm heading in this path, if you're pretty sure where God wants you to go, it's okay to Google the best route. And that's today's Jumpstart.